So people shouldn't worry about April 20th. You'll be in
Don't
Brooklyn
worry.
when that fight is going down.
Look. If anybody gonna pull out, it's gonna be him because he's so terrified of what I'm gonna do to him. I
So
guarantee you, he's terrified right now.
have tickets been are they for sale yet or not yet?
No, they're for sale. It's just they put the prices like we the Beatles or something, dog. Like what the heck?
So you think they should lower the prices?
Yes, this is what I'm saying. Lower the prices, bro. Like this shit is crazy, bro.
Man, look, I know New York is ready for the fight.
Ryan Garcia continues to stand on business. He says the ticket prices have now been lowered for his upcoming fight with Devin the Dream Haney. And that's what we're going to talk about. So Ryan Garcia, you've seen that clip. That's an older clip. I've already made a video about that. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, right? And the tickets and the ticket sales or lack thereof seem to be a continuous concern from boxing fans, right? Is this event selling? That's what people want to know. And make sure you stay tuned to this end of the video. I want you to hear something else Ryan Garcia said regarding the ticket set. Let me get my trusty headset. Let's take a listen. Roll the clip.
You know, I was a big advocate for lowering the prices. I think personally the prices were very high, and I want everybody to be in the building. You know, I don't think that.
So right there, he's absolutely correct. He said, I want everyone to be able to afford my fight, come to my fight, and I was an advocate for lowering the prices. Proof of that would be the first clip when you first clicked on this video where he said it on the Instagram Live. So that's why I referenced that for you. But listen.
You know, I was a big advocate for lowering the prices. I think personally the prices were very high, and I want everybody to be in the building. You know, I don't think that a lot of, you know, Americans can afford $500 tickets, $300 tickets for the top row. I wouldn't even pay that, you know, and I have enough money to do that, but I'm not going to pay $500 to be at the top row. That's crazy.
Wow. Ryan Garcia continues to double down on what he's already told you regarding the ticket sales. Now, the ticket sales, I told you guys from the beginning, they were overpriced. It's not necessarily the fighters. They don't really set the prices for the ticket. But whoever decided to scale the building and set the prices so high, what do you say now? And I love these moments on my channel because people say, oh, you're hating, oh, this and that. But now you have a multimillionaire fighter. Ryan can clearly afford $500. He gives that away. If you watch him and follow his pages, he says, oh, everyone in the store, I'm buying you guys shoes. $500 is nothing to Ryan Garcia. And he just told you, you heard it out the horse's mouth at his media day. He says, paying $300 to $500, Americans can't really swing that. He said, I can afford it and I wouldn't even swing it. I'm not paying $500 to be in the nosebleeds, to be in the bleeders. But when I said it, they said I was hating. You got the fighter in the event who's a millionaire, multi-millionaire, made more money than most people will see in their lifetime in one fight with Gervonta Davis, 30 to 50 million or whatever he made. And he's telling you he wouldn't even spent that type of money on tickets, despite the fact that he clearly could swing that if he wanted to. So I think that's commendable for Ryan Garcia to have always taken this stance, and he stood on business. You know what I mean? He took this stance from the beginning. I said it before him, and the prices are too high. And this seems to drive a lot of people, namely the Haneyacks, crazy. People now saying, oh, why do you care about ticket sales? No, we're not doing that. Bro, we're not going to do that. We are not going to do that. See, this is what happens in boxing frequently. Statements will be made, and when you pull out that diamond tester to see if you said you had a real chain and you pull out that diamond tester, people want to see if the diamonds are real or if they're fake. Statements have been made. Ryan Garcia said he's the face of boxing. Statements have been made. Devin Haney and his team said Devin is the face of boxing. The Mayweather era is over. Tank Davis is over. The Tank era is over. Devin's the new face of boxing. And now all of a sudden, people, they're saying, oh, I just care about the best versus the best. Why are you pocket watching? Why do you care about ticket prices? As if there's not a lot of on YouTube, boxing YouTube, as if you don't constantly see clickbait videos that are lies, a bunch of made up topics and topics that really don't even need to be discussed. But then Boxingego, the problem when I talk about overpriced tickets. Make it make sense. So, and the other thing is you have the fighter in the fight who has been clamoring for and fighting to get the ticket prices lowered. In fact, I'll pull it. Oh, wow. So I try to pull it up. It says Golden Boy Promotions presents Haney versus Garcia. Check back shortly. Our event pages are undergoing routine maintenance to enhance your experience. So I think they're changing the ticket prices as we speak, because I can't even access it on Ticketmaster. It simply says check back shortly. Now, another thing is the tickets, they've just been all over the price. This is Fred Garvin Real on Twitter. It says either people went on an orderly buying spree in a matter of minutes, or there's shenanigans afoot, right? And then you look at the screenshot from Ticketmaster, and conveniently, there was a lot of sections that were empty. They have, you see this section in blue and it's completely full. And then the row in front of it is now completely empty. Like, how would that even work? Like, so this is like a corner row, because not everyone buys a whole row every time that they buy tickets. And then you see this in blue right here. And then the edge of it is unsold or is unavailable. But then the row in front is mostly unavailable. And then the row in front is mostly unavailable. And it looks too systematic. Like normally it'll be staggered. You'll see like 2 seats. Someone got the middle seat. It's like if you guys have the movie theaters like we have out here, where you have to reserve seating for the movie theater, there's no rhyme or reason where the seat. One person went to the movie by themselves. So one reserved seat over here. They like to sit off to the corner by themselves. Then there's a couple, and then they're taking the 2 on the top row in the middle. Then 3 rows in front of that, there's a group of 6. So you see 6. So there's like no rhyme or reason. But when you look at the Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia tickets, they have whole sections that are open. And then conveniently, the whole section in front is gone and unavailable seemingly. And it's like, that's why he said orderly. So look, no, there's no venue. Look, so it's like, let's just make up section numbers. If you guys can see, let's say it's 1, this is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. How is every even number completely gutted with no empty seats? So no one buys tickets like that. So they did something to this, right? Because you have this whole section is available, and then the whole row in front of it is gone. Not a single seat. And it continues on throughout. So basically, this section is not sold out. And what Fred Garvin is showing you is that what they've done is they delisted 3,000 tickets. It says so. So for Haney Garcia, they've delisted 2,900 tickets. It's similar to the Canelo versus Bivol fight, another fight where the promoter spent a lot of time dumping on the competition and not worrying about their own event, right? So he's alleging that they've delisted tickets, which actually makes sense why it looks like one row completely open, then the row in front of it completely gone, then the row in front of that, the third row completely open, and then the row in front of that is completely gone. So basically to give you the illusion like, oh, tickets are flying, I gotta hurry up and buy now. Like, it's no different. Here's an example that I could provide you. You ever go to a restaurant or a cafe, and the cafe say they open at 6 a.m. in the morning, and you're probably the first customer, and then you look over at the cash register, they got a tip jar right in front of the cash register, and the tip jar has like $100 in smaller broken up denominations. You see some 5s, some 10s, some 20s, and you're like thinking, they've been open for 1 minute. How would they have gotten that many tips, that many 5s, that many tips? What's happening is they're adding their own tips to the tip jar. See this article on Reddit, you guys see what I'm talking about. ULPT, unethical life pro tips, or whatever that is. If your work has a tip jar, put a bunch of your own cash in it at the beginning of your shift. This pressures people to tip you, and you'll make a considerable amount more. It's that similar psychology being employed when it comes to having a row and then delisting certain sections that haven't actually sold, that rows that were completely like available. But that psychological trick, if someone's going to look for tickets and then they're like, wait, oh man, people are buying out, I got to get the good row, so it kind of is a psychological right? That would, I guess, inspire somebody to hurry up and buy, in the words of Menace to Society. So if you have to do all these things, right, to sell the tickets, that means the tickets aren't selling, right? And I feel like this is something that definitely is conversation worthy. You guys see, it says Haney Garcia tickets have hit the point of pure comedy, as Golden Boy Promotions has pulled every other row to give the illusion that tickets are moving in an attempt to spur buying. You usually want to try this trick at the midpoint, not a week before the fight. So they're doing little, I guess, magician tricks to entice people to buy. That's crazy. That's crazy. This is supposed to be a big fight. Again, you have whole sections that like, and here's the thing. The reason why I know this to be true is I have screenshots every single day of the ticket sales. And then now in an orderly fashion, some of this whole rows are gone, but they weren't gone. So who bought a row full of 18 people and they bought every even number? Like, come on, it just doesn't make sense. That's not the buying patterns, because not everyone's buying whole rows. So again, it gives an illusion that the tickets are flying off the shelf. So you're like, oh, I have to hurry up and commit. So likely what's going to happen, either you have sections that are closed off, they're going to have to slice. There's a couple things. Sections that are closed off, they're likely going to have people from the nosebleeds, and the night of the fight, allow them to get a better seat, lower seat, so it looks better for the cameras. And they're going to have to slash prices probably some more. And that's what it appears, at least to me, like they're doing, since conveniently I decided to make this video right now and it says check back shortly. So they're clearly doing something. And regardless, with Fred Garfin's like actual map and picture of the map that is showing you this pattern, I will be able to compare it when the Ticketmaster is available again to see if they in fact did that. Because all of a sudden you'll see sections that were completely grayed out will start to reemerge. I mean, it's the oldest trick in the book, people. But back to it. You got a lot of people. This is what people do to wave the white flag when they don't want to admit they're wrong. You have people saying this fight is the biggest fight in boxing. It'll sell out, yada, yada, yada. And then now it looks like with Ryan's antics and for whatever else reasons, probably the reasons I gave, like the ticket prices are way too pricey, trying to beat Gervonta Davis's record at the Barclay. Now they're coming to their senses, but I think you should have done it probably a little bit sooner, but they held out at the high prices, maybe to spare embarrassment. And, maybe Golden Boy's not used to having a fight like this since Canelo. I don't know. I don't know what the reason is, but you have a short period of time, and Ryan has told you, Boxingego has told you, the prices were too high. And I think that's a major component, but also Ryan's behavior. I mean, it's such a perfect storm and recipe for disaster that is laughable. To have overpriced ticket prices and then one fighter appearing psycho to some and spewing out all these things, going on spaces, talking about aliens. People thought he was kidnapped. People think he was going to pull out. It doesn't mix. You can't make that mix. You can't make it mix where you give people belief that you're not taking the fight seriously and then expect them to pay such steep costs to get in the building. At one point, it was like $300 to get in the building in a nosebleed seat, which Ryan was talking about, even the lower bowl. And now it looks like they're messing around with it again, as I've showed you throughout this video, because Ticketmaster for this particular event, it says check back shortly. So they're clearly doing something to it and reconfiguring the tickets yet again. But these games of like blocking off sections that really aren't sold and saying 10,000 tickets were sold in 2 days, only to find out they've been put back on the market by resellers and they weren't really purchased by individuals. I mean, it's very apparent. And I think, like I said, you got two West Coast people and you have them fighting in New York. Just think about that. I want you to let that marinate like Mayweather-Pacquiao fight. Just let it marinate. Two fighters from the West Coast. Like I said, it's such a recipe for disaster. You got two West Coast fighters. You put them on the East Coast. Boxingego and Ryan told you this fight should have been in Vegas. I also said LA would have been acceptable, right? Two West Coast fighters, you put them in New York. None of their previous fights for Devin Haney or Ryan, outside of Ryan versus Gervonta Davis, we'll exclude that because that was a huge fight, an event. Outside of his one fight with PBC fighter and boxing superstar Gervonta Davis, none of Ryan nor Devin Haney's tickets have ever been priced this high. So you can't just spring that on your audience. Like, if to go to a Beyonce show, it costs a pretty penny. I've seen the ticket prices, but that's from years of touring, classic albums, Grammys and stuff. So I feel like the Beehive, or whatever they call it, Beyonce fans, at this point, they're accustomed to, and they're used to, they're conditioned is a great word. They're conditioned. If you're going to see Beyonce, especially in a big venue, and she's coming to your city, you live in Chicago, you live in New York, whatever, Vegas, you know that you're going to pay a good amount. Or Taylor Swift, or a lot of the top concerts and performers, right? You know their tickets are going to cost you, right? So Ryan versus Oscar Duarte, look at those ticket prices, which is Ryan's last fight. Look at Devin Haney versus Regis Prograis in the Bay. Look at those ticket prices. And I know, because I live in the Bay, and I know several people that aren't media that went from out my way, that went to Devin Haney fight, and I know how much they paid for the ticket. And it wasn't, they got better seats in the Chase Center, and they didn't pay $300 to $500. They didn't pay $1,400 to get in the lower bowl, et cetera, et cetera. So I get it. This fight is more of a bigger fight, I guess you could say, than the Regis Prograis fight. But I think they overshot it, and especially with Ryan's bizarre behavior, they didn't really think this through, and I think they overestimated the popularity of these two. See, you guys hear this stuff on Twitter, like, oh, Ryan sold all the Tank tickets. The only reason the fight did 1 million is because of Ryan's name, right? And you guys hear this, and if you hear it as a boxing fan and I hear it as a boxing media, right? The promoters and stuff, they see that. So that's what happens. That's the dangerous thing about the internet, is sometimes you can let people gas you up and gaslight you, and you start believing what you hear or what you read. And that's what it looks like here. It looks like Golden Boy is like, man, we had this hell of an event. I mean, they couldn't count on Ryan Garcia acting the way he did. But outside of that, I think they overshot it trying to compete with Gervonta Davis, which is what I said from day one. And that's why the tickets are having to come down. Do you honestly believe that Gervonta Davis's show with Ryan Garcia, that they were reducing the prices of tickets for lack of sales? Or was it the opposite, where, you know, a big fight, like you go to see Canelo, sometimes if you go to see Tank or these big shows, right? Wilder versus Fury, sometimes they got to open up new sections that they didn't think they had to, because of, I've been to fights like that, where this one section was supposed to be like given to media, but they had to like say, media, we'll put you somewhere else because we got paying customers ready to spend on tickets. So we open it and we giving that section to fans. Literally has happened to me as a media member, right? Not what's happening right now with Golden Boy, where you go to Ticketmaster and every day it's like check back and they keep reconfiguring the tickets, and they're trying to give, like, basically stress people into believing that sections are sold out and all this craziness. Crazy.